WEFUNK. We funk.
That'll, all in all, I guess, that'll get us to the season predictions, I guess, here a little bit with the Mets, giving you, as I've run out the team, those are going to, we've met the Mets, and the coaching staff that will be directing them, and the owner that will be paying them, and so that's the team for 2021. And what will happen here, of course, we will catalog over the next 6 months of the Big LW's You Gotta Believe cast and the 2021 Major League Baseball season. But what will go on with the Mets for my official opening day special predictions? As we go into the season, the Mets over/under 90.5 wins. Okay, so to win money on the Mets over, the Mets got to go 20 games, at the very least, 20 games over 500. 91 and 71 will get you the over in perhaps the toughest division in all of baseball as well, mind you. But so pretty tough number to hit there. I guess I'll give you a couple of ifs. All right, I'll give you a couple of ifs. If there is no first-year adjustment period for Francisco Lindor, as let's face it, everybody that's ever come to the Mets has struggled to start, okay? It very often takes a first full year to get used to everything. Lindor in a contract year the whole time, in the National League, from American League, very well could see an adjustment period for Lindor from his, normal MVP, top 5 caliber player. So if there's no adjustment period for Lindor, and we're getting the 2021 Mets get the Francisco Lindor that has carried the Cleveland Indians to the division title the last 5 years. If we get that Francisco Lindor, if we get a major bounce back from Pete Alonso, much closer to the 2019 Pete Alonso than the 2020 Pete Alonso, a second MVP candidate Pete Alonso, All-Star Pete Alonso, 45 homers Pete Alonso. He's going to be a great guy in the clubhouse. You know that he's going to be easy to root for. So you know that he's going to be a great face for the franchise off the field and all of that stuff. If we get a major offensive year from Pete Alonso, if Thor Syndergaard comes back healthy and strong, and we see and as well Carrasco comes back, relatively early in the season, around Memorial Day for Carrasco, and Thor comes back, we'll call 4th of July for Thor, and if we get a major portion of the season with DeGrom, Thor, Carrasco, and Stroman as our rotation. And as well, I guess, no major adjustment periods for Carrasco or Stroman coming back after a major layoff. And not being that great before, to be perfectly honest, with the Mets. Local guy, and a big shout out to Stroman, fan favorite. But if the DeGrom, Thor, Carrasco, Stroman rotation plays, let's say we get, closer to 3 months from Thor and most of a season from Carrasco, and those names and the play lives up to the names for that being the Mets starting rotation, and most importantly, if somebody emerges as a reliable closer in the bullpen, I guess we're all looking at you, Edwin Diaz, or Sam McWilliams shocks the world and catches lightning in a bottle like very often happens in the bullpen, or we bring in somebody from the outside. If we find somebody to be a reliable closer, as like I mentioned right now, as we enter the season, I look at it with no reliable closers. So if we if we play the season with a reliable closer, most of the season with a DeGrom, Thor, Stroman core rotation, and Pete Alonso and Lindor both have their MVP caliber seasons. If all of that happens, then yes, the Mets go over 90.5, and yes, the Mets do win the NL East, and I guess my official predictions for the New York Mets 2021 season, yes, the Mets hit the over, yes, the Mets win the very, very competitive NL East, like I said. Of course, the Nats are still, they've lost a couple pieces from the World Series of a couple years ago, however, still really quality are the Nats. The Braves, of course, still back to the, Braves of the 90s. The Phillies looking just as capable of having a big year as the Mets anyway, in all honesty. Even the Marlins looking a lot better. So all in all, a very tough division. But I do feel the Mets will win the NL East, okay, and enter October, where we will see some traditional playoff rivals, okay? An opening round series with the Wild Cards, as of course the St. Louis Redbirds will be back in the playoffs where they belong to face the Mets, who will finally get revenge on Wainwright and Molina, who are both coming back to St. Louis. So one last chance to pay back the debt from 2006 at this point, 15 years ago. And honestly, 15 years ago, Wainwright and Molina still going at it. Now with Goldschmidt and Arenado added to St. Louis, the Mets will see St. Louis this October, and they will come out on top. Well, they will go on to the NLS to face another traditional rival of the New York Mets, the LA Dodgers. When we last met, we did it for Ruben Tejada after that bastard Chase Utley and his dirty slide. However, this year, we're going to get revenge on last year's asshole of the season. Of course, ex-Met Turner, who totally ruined the Dodgers World Series by celebrating with coronavirus in a season that put a black eye on baseball, putting a black eye on the season. And Turner's total ignoring of everything decent in life, and deciding to celebrate on the field with his fellow Dodgers after, and again, a really tough story for Turner, being told that he had coronavirus in the middle of Game 7, in the middle of the game where you're going to win the World Series. So really, really tough job for Turner. However, and we talked about it on I've talked about it on some podcast anyway, but Turner really had the opportunity to, if Turner would have done what was right and quarantined himself and not celebrated well, opening day when Turner rejoined his team, he would have been an absolute cult hero, doing what was right and sacrificing his celebration until, or postponing it anyway, and really having the spotlight to himself when the Dodgers celebrated the World Series champions on opening day in LA, or whenever they had their official flag raising ceremony and their official celebration of the Dodgers. Turner really would have had a unique, special, standout moment, not getting to take part in that celebration with the team due to having coronavirus. Instead, ignored that, and really, like I said, put a black eye, went from a guy that I love to root for to a guy that I will now always root against. And I think, much like, right next to Jose Altuve, right next to Altuve, he will be public enemy number one in Major League Baseball after giving the big middle finger to Fauci. And just in general, all of America, and just in general, really everybody on Earth, by not following coronavirus protocols. But so we owe it to the world to be the ones that take down Turner and the Dodgers and unseed them as the ungrateful World Series champions, and make it all the way to the World Series, where 20 years after Mark Grace and Tony Womack and Luis Gonzalez beat the Yankees in 7 games a couple of months after September 11th, and I guess 21 years after the Yanks got the sweep on the Mets will get the sweep on the Yanks, as the 2021 Mets will win the World Series by sweeping a Subway Series over the Yankees, as Stanton, Judge, and Jay Bruce the newest Yankee, who was, of course, a total disaster on the Mets, killed us with the Phillies, and now hightailing it to the Yankees, where he will, of course, he will be my most recent, most hated Yankee, and but the Yanks, who are odds-on favorite to win the AL, will make it all the way to October, and 2021 will end in a Subway Series and a Mets title in front of a 100% capacity crowd at Citi Field, as coronavirus will be a thing of the past, and the Mets will be World Series champs.
WEFUNK. We funk.